Hello, this is Daniel Hindi, and today we're going to talk about the processes that is the lifeblood of your business. Last time we spoke about the human capital in your business, and while that is extremely important, your workforce without a process can do very little. Here's the silver lining. If you actually hired correctly, they will help you establish the process you need. Now, it's extremely important to understand that the process needs to work for you, not you and your business working for the process. What do I mean? If you establish a process that is too burdensome on your workforce, there's just a lot of friction points. The second you turn your back, they're not going to do it anymore. The process will fall apart because they can't see the benefit outweighing the cost of maintaining this process. If you make a process easy to follow, but it's not getting you the outcome you want, then what's the point? If you want your business to run like a well-oiled machine, you need to stop throwing wrenches in it. What do I mean? If you want your workforce to be disciplined and follow a process that is established, you can't be the first one to break it. You can't be the first one who comes in and said, oh, well, I'm the boss, change the process for me, because it'll just fall apart. It becomes a system riddled with exceptions. So the change needs to start within you to make sure that you establish a process and you yourself follow the process and illustrate and demonstrate discipline to your team through your own actions. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, you have a vision for your company. You know that you need to take your company to the next level. And so you come up with a business goal. Now, once you come up with that action plan on how you're going to achieve that business goal, basically your strategy, you lay that out generally in a framework called OKRs, Objectives and Key Results. Usually 3 to 5. So let's say you have a goal that you want to reach this quarter. You lay out 3 to 5 OKRs in terms of what are the objectives, what's a strategy for us to achieve this business goal. Now, when you define these objectives, they need to be SMART objectives. SMART is an acronym. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound objectives. It's extremely important that you keep it SMART. The reason being is if you want to achieve your goal, you need to specify what your goal is. You need to be able to measure when you've achieved the goal. It needs to be attainable and not just pie in the sky where it's not in the realm of reality. It needs to be relevant where you're not being sidetracked, and you need to have a particular clock on it to say, I want to achieve this quarter, this year, or whatever it may be. So let's say you had an objective of increasing MRR, monthly reoccurring revenue. Now, that's not a SMART objective. Why? You weren't, one, specific. You weren't specific on how we're going to achieve this. Is it through outbound sales, increase sales force, increasing the price of your monthly offering? How are we going to achieve this? Is it measurable? When you said increase MRR, increase by how much? What's success look like? An increase by 1%, 5%, 10%? How can I measure that I've achieved my goal? Is it achievable? Well, if you say I want to double in a quarter, that's very difficult. If you have a successful business and you're trying to double it in one quarter, that's really not in the realm of reality. So is it attainable? The next is it relevant? CEOs and upper management get sidetracked all the time with their pet projects, and they set out the goals for departments and then say, oh yeah, by the way, can you do this side project for me? And you get sidetracked. So you want to make sure all the tactics assigned to this objective is actually relevant to achieving that objective. And then obviously time bound. If you said I want to increase it within this quarter, within this year, within this month, whatever it is, as long as you put a particular time constraint on it. Before we continue, make sure you like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest content. Now that you've established SMART objectives that are going to help you achieve your business goals, which is basically your strategy, the next step is establishing the tactics of how we achieve those objectives. Now, the common mistake here is that leadership, while they are supposed to establish the strategy for the business goals, they are not supposed to establish the tactics on how to achieve those business goals. And let me explain why. When you tell your team that we are trying to increase monthly recurring revenue. I need you to establish an outbound sales effort and make 50 calls a day. Now, what did you do? You just established a tactic for them and gave them basically a checklist. The only way they have to measure success is if this checklist is checked off. Not did it actually increase MRR. Now, let's take that scenario over again. If you go to your sales team and you say, okay, team, this quarter we need to focus on increasing MRR. How are we going to do that? And you have them come up with the tactics where their North Star is affecting a KPI, a key performance indicator. They understand that regardless of how you did it, the way you measure success is by affecting this metric. So if I try a tactic and it doesn't work, change the tactic, because your North Star isn't checking off a list and said, I accomplished my tasks. No, it is affecting a metric. And as long as that's how they measure success, they know that the tactics can be malleable to achieve those KPI changes that we need, which is the common misconception between working hard and working smart. Many people don't understand what that means, and they think if you work smart, you don't have to work hard. That's not really what it means. What it means is when you do put effort, make sure it's effective and not just wipe your brow and say, hey, I worked hard. It's the best that I could do and we're done. No, work smart. Make sure the effort you are putting is having an impact. So in summary, processes are extremely important to get the most out of your team and so that you can achieve your SMART objectives. Make sure when you lay down that strategy that all your objectives are SMART, and make sure your team is the one establishing the tactics to achieve your strategy. And the way they measure success is based on a KPI, a metric, a key performance indicator, and not a task list. Until next time, I hope that gave you clear and logical steps on how to have effective processes in your business.